Hi, this is Anushka Vani, digital editor at EM and A&D magazine. And welcome. We have Mr. Satyendra Gupta, who has won the esteemed professorship of the Smith International. He is also the professor of mechanical engineering and aerospace. Welcome, sir. So today I would like to have a discussion on AI and how AI is the future for us. So before we begin, I wanted to ask you, how specifically has AI been reshaping the traditional manufacturing processes uh, across the globe?
Sure. So AI is being used in manufacturing in a wide variety of ways. Most common one that we know is automation. So it is enabling, basically robots to do things which they were not able to do before. But besides that, AI has been playing lots of other roles as well. So a lot of, very careful preventive maintenance is being done because of AI. A lot of training human workers to work in manufacturing sector is also AI is beginning to play a role. A lot of smart user interfaces which are being deployed in the field of manufacturing. AI is also playing a role. So AI is playing a wide variety of different roles in manufacturing.
Right. Since you also mentioned about automation and robotics, I had a question in my mind that what do you see the future of robotics and adapting to the AI technologies, at least in the Indian market?
Sure. So so any economy which aspires to do high value-added manufacturing eventually will have to start utilizing robots. And if you want to really use robots to make sure that you can make high-quality products, then you have no choice but to embrace AI as well. So AI-powered robots are going to be important for India's future.
Absolutely, absolutely. My next question to you is, since there's an ongoing debate that AI is going to replace jobs, and I would like to know your point of view and your understanding as to how AI can actually empower the workforce rather than replacing it.
Sure. So let me answer this question in the context of manufacturing.
Right.
So, in the context of manufacturing, when we are thinking about basically robots and AI powering robots and then robot doing the physical work, so it turns out that, a lot of work where robots are beginning to do, humans simply don't want to do that work. That work is very risky. It leads to lots of injuries and other health concern. So human should not be doing that work. Moreover, if you want the kind of quality and consistency that makes you leader in the field of manufacturing, again, human cannot basically deliver that performance. And also, many manufacturing applications require handling of material at very elevated temperature, require providing a lot of force. Again, human cannot do those kind of things, right? So obviously, in that context, AI is basically powering robot to do things which human either don't want to do or shouldn't be doing it. So in that context, in those kind of applications, AI is not really taking jobs away from human. It's creating new kind of opportunities. It's creating new landscape. Obviously, that means that the job landscape is going to change. So there's a new kind of opportunities that will become available, which will, of course, create all kind of exciting possibilities. So in that way, AI-powered robots are not taking jobs away from human. They're creating new kind of opportunities.
Right, absolutely. And I think it is also helping most of the manufacturing processes to save time. And in a way, that is an upgrade on the manual workforce that we have. So, moving on, I wanted to know how does AI enable customized manufacturing practices, and what role does it play in promoting sustainable production?
Sure. So let me first tackle the personalization or customization question. So if you want a product to be customized or personalized, now if you're going to be so let's try to decompose what happens in manufacturing. First, you make some operational decision, and then you physically execute them. Now, obviously, if you want to do any kind of customization, if a human is involved, either in operational decision making or physical execution of the task, the cost becomes so high that for most of the situation, this is not affordable. So the moment AI start coming into the play, so first of all, so let's say if somebody is doing, let's say a custom part for a vehicle. Now, the moment design is released, if you can automatically figure it out how this is going to be fabricated, as opposed to humans sitting there and spending few hours planning it, and then robot can automatically execute it, then obviously this becomes a lot more affordable. So the same idea is now being applied to, basically lots of different products where people are looking into customization and personalization. So AI that starts eliminating need for human to intervene, and that means that many hours, once they're taken away from it, personalization and customization becomes a lot more affordable.
Absolutely.
And
Yes.
it becomes reality.
Absolutely. Carrying this point, do you want to add
Yeah. So
something?
your second question was
Oh,
about sustainability,
yes,
right?
Yes, yeah.
So in sustainability domain, once AI start playing a role, so in manufacturing, if you take a look at it, in order to be sustainable, there are different components to it.
Yeah.
So one component is that you minimize your consumables. So imagine the example of robotic sanding. So let's say
Yes.
a robot is sanding versus a human is sanding. Now, when humans are sanding, when the moment sandpaper start wearing out, because now it'll require you to apply more pressure to
Yes.
perform the sanding operation. So people will just throw away sanding, paper without fully exploiting life out of it, right? So once you start using AI-powered robot, you can fully utilize all your consumables, right?
Absolutely.
So reduction in consumable then has a huge benefit for environment, right? Second thing is that if you fully optimize the process and you don't make any mistakes and you don't have to rework the
Yes.
part, then that also leads to net reduction in scrap and also total amount of resources which are utilized, whether it be energy, whether it be water. So that also plays a big role.
Bigger role, yes.
Now, if again now you can schedule your production, let's say at the time when you're not competing for peak electricity, that also has a role. For example, you can schedule it in the evening hours when, or whenever, let's say if you are operating with a solar cell, you can schedule it when there's
Absolutely.
abundant sun is available. So all of those things also start playing a big role. So consumable reduction, eliminating mistakes and errors, optimizing the process, and all this flexibility that comes in, where you can produce, how you can produce, all of that plays a big role in sustainability.
Right. So, since we are talking about sustainability, I also wanted to know. Recently, I read somewhere that India has, surpassed Japan and became the third player in the automotive sector for electric mobility. And since EV vehicles, basically, they have been adapting towards the AI technologies. So, can you shed some light on that as well for us?
So basically, when people talk in terms of AI in the context of, basically electric vehicle, there are three different puzzle to that story, right? So one puzzle of the story is the manufacturing end of it. So that's where you're using automation, robotics to make EV vehicles in a significantly improved manner. And there, again, AI is playing a role to make sure that we can make vehicles which are safe, meet highest standard of quality. So that's where the production end of it. Then the second aspect is, how to charge EVs in the most efficient way, which basically doesn't create problem for your grid.
Yeah.
Also, hopefully the electricity that you're buying and charging it, and it gives you the longest possible life, and also kind of you charge it at the time which will be helpful to whatever you want the vehicle to do. And then the third aspect of AI is basically operationally. When you're driving the vehicle, you get the best performance out of it. whether it be some sort of safety features or some rudimentary capability of self-driving. So AI is playing, role in all three aspects. So.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, coming to a final point for today, I wanted to know how can industries and educational institutes collaborate to ensure that the workforce is adequately upskilled and trained to meet the future demands for AI technology?
Sure. So, in the context of manufacturing, it's super important that let's first take a look at the educational institution pieces, right? That we provide enough lab-based experiences, because if students just study things in a book, then when they go to work, they're not ready to actually contribute. So having good experimental test bed becomes supremely important. So that means that people should have lots of hands-on experiences. They should go to the lab, actually work on a physical system where they are actually being able to get their hands on a manufacturing system, and then deploy AI technology. So doing AI, let's say for banking transaction or translation technology, is fundamentally different than building AI for manufacturing applications. So while AI for banking or AI for language translation can be done without, hardware-oriented lab facility, but AI for manufacturing cannot be done that way. So it begins by basically offering people the right experimental test bed in universities and colleges, because without which we are not going to be able to train people to do this. Now, when it comes to the industry part of it, then again, they have to play a role in steering what happens in the curriculum. Because again, the complexity that is happening in the modern manufacturing plants versus what's being covered in the curriculum, there's a mismatch. Because historically, what we tend to do is that we try to simplify things when we're trying to teach things, right? While modern manufacturing tends to be extremely complex. So industry also has a role to play, offer people internship opportunity, even allow professors and teachers to come and see, get a hang of the scale of the complexity, provide appropriate case studies to the students. So there's a lot needs to be done to make sure that workforce is adequately prepared to really do advancement in this area.
Right, absolutely. And I think adding to your point, even with the current workforce that's already been placed in the industry, industries could take a few more initiatives in conducting more workshops to make that their workforce is much more skilled and, to meet the demands of AI technology. So, with that, I would like to thank you so much for giving your insights and sharing your time with us today. Thank you so much, sir.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me, and it's a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, sir.